I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. For today's class, you're going to need a bolster or just a normal pillow from your bed would be perfect. And we're going to focus on extension through the upper back and the hips as well as moving in all directions. We'll get started sitting cross-legged on your bolster. And you're going to find your seat cross-legged just on top of your pillow and press your hands down into your legs and then press your knees up into your hands and then just let your legs relax a little. See if you can relax more through the hips. If sitting cross-legged is uncomfortable, you can just bring your legs gently out in front of you, whatever works. So starting with your hands on your knees, think about pressing your hands into your knees and then finding length through the crown of your head, lifting up nice and tall. And then you're just going to nod your chin and think about rounding down. You can slide your arms forward or down your legs like you're going to touch the floor. And then stack yourself all the way back up, coming up nice and tall. And then again, nod your chin, round down gently. And then stack your spine back up. 2 more just like this. Keeping your shoulders nice and relaxed. Don't think about reaching so much as letting your arms just kind of find the ground. And then stack your spine all the way up nice and tall. And then here, press your hands into your knees and think about lifting up from the very center of your chest towards the ceiling. Let your head fall back gently, lifting your chin, and then release yourself back to neutral. And then again, press your knees into your hands, hands into your knees, and lift your chest gently up towards the ceiling. Keeping relaxed through the legs, make sure that they're not wanting to pull up, and then stack your spine nice and tall. And then again, lift through the chest, and then release. And then from here, bring your hands wide to the side, and you're gonna reach out through either your fingertips or the heel of your hand on your right side as you bring your ear over to your left shoulder, and then you can grab onto your right ear or the outside of your head and just keep your gaze forward straight in front of you to start. And then think about gently opening your head up towards the ceiling, lifting your gaze. You may feel the stretch in your neck travel forward. Keep reaching through that right hand, and then square yourself back up. And then you're going to grab on slightly behind your head and look down. Maybe you find that you bring your arm back if that feels better. And then bring your gaze back to the center. And then relax your right arm and then bring your head back up tall. And then same thing on the other side. So first reach long through both arms. And then you're going to let your head fall over to the right, grab onto that left ear as you reach through your left arm. Relax your shoulders, keeping your gaze nice and straight forward for 1 more breath. And then you can gently start to look up towards the ceiling, still keeping your ear towards your head without pulling your head all the way forward. And then square your head back to center. And then you can gently grab on behind your head and look down towards your armpit or right thigh. And then back to the center. And then all the way up. Reach your fingertips all the way out to the left and then just take 1 big side bend up and over. And then round forward, sweep your body around, plant your right hand, not your right foot, and then bring your left arm up overhead. And then come forward. And side bend over to the left. And then come all the way up. Now side bend up and over to the right. Walk yourself around to the front, keeping your hips nice and heavy on your pillow, and then open up with that hand to the left. And then 1 more time, sweep around back to the right, and then lift that arm up. And then come all the way up tall. Cool. So you can take your bolster out of the way. If you want to put it under your knees, you're more than welcome to do that. If not, you can just pop it towards the front of your mat, and you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees slightly back behind your hips, like probably no more than an inch. And then you're just going to sit your hips back towards your heels and then circle around to the right. Think about opening through the front of your hips and then come back around. And again to the right, opening up through the front of the hips and over and back. You can adjust your positioning of your knees and your arms as you need. One more time to the left. And then pause at the back. And then start your circle in the other direction. If you feel a little tightness in your hips, that's totally fine. If you want to pause where you feel a nice stretch, go for it. One more time in this direction. Good, and then pause at the back. Walk your knees back right underneath your hips. Press down through the feet and lift your chest, finding a little bit of extension, keeping your abdominals lifted away from the floor gently. And then round your spine up towards the ceiling. Press down into the floor. Press the ground away as you round up. And then widen your sitting bones and find length through the front of your body. And then again, round your spine up towards the ceiling. And open. And round. One more time. And open. And then find a nice neutral position here through the back. Think about lengthening through the crown of the head. And then extend your right leg back behind you. Think about opening up through the back of that knee and then drag your foot back in underneath you. So you're not lifting it up off the floor just yet. You're just bending and straightening. You're going to keep your toe pointed. And think about finding a little bit of length from your right shoulder all the way through your right tips of your toes as you extend. Last one. You're going to keep that leg long. And then if you'd like to flex your foot, you can, but you're just going to float your leg up so that it's in line with your hip. You want to think about the front of your hip being nice and open, but your foot isn't up so high that you're arching your back. And then tap that leg down and reach it back and long and up. Good. Lift and lower. Keeping your abdominals gently lifted away from the floor. Using your breath to find some stability. Your hips are staying nice and even. You may have a little bit more weight into that right hand to keep you square. Two more. And last one. Good. And then lower your right leg down and then just flex the foot and reach back through the heel on that right side, getting a little stretch through your calf and the back of that right leg. And then you're going to take your left foot and you're going to bring it out to the side like a little kickstand, come onto the inside edge of your right foot, and then open yourself out into a nice side bend, side stretch here, and then you can reach your arm up overhead, reach your hips up towards the ceiling, and then circle your right arm all the way down, bring your left leg back to neutral, and then bring your right leg in. So switching sides, find a nice arch in your back, and then round your spine, press the floor away first, and then find yourself in a nice neutral pelvis. From here, extend that left leg, keep your toes on the ground, and then resist to bring it back in. Focusing on finding the opening through the back of that left knee, and back in. And reach. And again, hips are square, make sure your weight hasn't shifted all the way over to that right side. And in. Four more. Make sure your arms are, or your elbows rather, are not hyperextended. Your arms are straight, but they can have a tiny little bend in them. And extend. And back in. Last one. Leave your leg long the next time you extend it. And then from here, you're going to float that leg up off the ground. Again, find the opening through the front of the hip flexor, and then tap your leg down and lift. Check in with your neck. Make sure you are not dropping your head. If you want to lift down, that's cool, but just bring your head back to that neutral position. Gaze at the edge of your mat. 4 more. 3. 2, again, really thinking about the opening through the hip. Last one. And then plant the toes down so your foot is flexed and then reach back. You can press into your hands to help give you a little bit of leverage here for that nice calf stretch. And then kickstand your right knee out, come onto the inside edge of your left foot and open yourself up to the side for a nice stretch. If you'd like, you can reach the left arm up overhead. Just relax both shoulders away from your ears. And then circle your arm all the way down and bring your left knee in. And then from here, bring your right leg out and your left arm out. And then you're just gonna reach your right toes, left fingertips away in opposition. And you're just gonna hold here. Keep thinking about that lift from your abdominals, the wrap of your ribs, the length through your hip flexor, and the reach from your back through your fingertips on that left side. And now you're going to tap it down and lift. Tap and lift. Good. Keep thinking about that length every time you lift and lower. 4 more. 3. 2. And last one. And then lower it all the way down. And we're going to switch sides. So left leg extends, right arm extends, and then find that reach as you lift all the way up, and then hold here. Taking a few breaths. Again, wrapping your ribs, keeping the lift of your abdominals, making sure you're breathing. So you're not just holding your position and your breath. That would be difficult. And then tap down and lift. Good. Tap and lift. 5. The head is still lifted. Again, thinking through that hip flexor. 3, 2, and last one. Lower the arm and leg down, and then sit back on your knees and just roll your wrists out a little bit if you need. Stretch through them. From here, come up onto your knees in a tall kneeling position, and then think about tucking the tailbone under gently. Your sitting bones are reaching down the backs of your legs, so you're open through the hips. And you're gonna bring your arms straight out in front of you. Think that you're stuck between 2 panes of glass. If this is too much on your knees, just fold your mat in half. And then find length through the crown of your head, up nice and tall, and then you're just gonna hinge back as you inhale. And then exhale, come forward. If you want to change the breath, obviously do what works for you. And back up. Really feeling the opening and stretch through the front of the thighs. And then just make sure that you're not reaching forward with your arms as you come back. You want your shoulder blades to stay flat on your back. Shoulders, hips go back at the same rate. 2 more. And last one. Good. And then from here, hands stay where they are. You're going to think about tucking the tailbone under and then gently releasing it down almost all the way to your heels. And then think about ripping the mat apart as you try to think about separating your legs as you lift up. Get a little tuck under at the top. Sitting halfway back and lift. Back and lift. And make this range of motion whatever works for you. If you want to take your arms straight up, whatever positioning works for you. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Pause at the top, and now you're going to sweep your left arm back and follow your hand with your gaze as you come up, and staying on that left side. Hinge back. So again, you're between those 2 panes of glass, but this time the upper back has a little bit of rotation. 3 more. 2. Hips still stay forward. Last one. Pause at the top. Switch sides. So follow your gaze on the right side. Follow your hand with your gaze. Shoulders are relaxed. Hips stay forward or square. 3 more. 2. And last one. Come all the way up. And then you can come down onto all fours one more time. Tuck your toes under, lift your chest, find a little bit of extension here. And then curl the tailbone under nice and slowly, one vertebra at a time. Hips up towards your ribs. And then just shake yourself out a little. Get a stretch from one side to the other, whatever feels nice. And then come to sit on your mat with your feet right in front of you. So from here, sitting up nice and tall, you can move the fleshy part of your butt out of the way if that helps you feel a little bit more grounded. And you can have your hands behind your thighs or straight out in front of you, your preference, and then tuck the tailbone under. But think about keeping the head reaching towards the ceiling as you round back. So really let your roll down initiate from your hips. And then come halfway back, pause here. And then exhale, come all the way back up. So again, think that someone's head is on your hand and you want to try to find that opening through the hips, through the pelvis. You can straighten your legs if you prefer. And then you're round halfway back. Take an inhale. And then exhale, come all the way up nice and tall. If you need to alternate between bent and straight, just my preference, go for it. And then halfway back. You want to think about putting your sacrum on the floor as the first thing to reach. So really think about that space. Try not to lock out your legs. Let there be a little softness through the knees, halfway back. And up. Good, last one. Pause here. And then slowly, slowly roll all the way down, one vertebra at a time. So think about reaching your hip or your sitting bones down towards your feet. Chin stays off of your chest, just floating there. And then lay all the way down, reach your arms up overhead. Take a nice big stretch, whatever happens with your ribs, your knees, doesn't matter, let this feel good. And then feel your back ribs connect with the mat as you start to bring your arms back up into peripheral view. Nod your head, neck, and shoulders, lift up off the mat, pause here. Take a big inhale, exhale, lower all the way back down. Reach your arms up overhead, but this time keep your hips, or your ribs rather, connected to the floor. And then back up. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders all the way up off the floor. Legs are long. And then lower all the way back down. We're going to do 3 more just like this. Lifting up. We're really trying to get those shoulder blades off the floor, since this is just going to continue on into your roll up in a moment. And lift. Chin stays lifted off your chest like a clementine's distance or one of those little cuties, although those might just still be clementines. Lift. And lower all the way back down. This next time we're going to come up and we're going to pause. From here, feel your ribs press back as your back ribs press back as your front ribs go toward your hips, and curl yourself all the way up. Roll over your legs. Scoot forward if you need, just so you have enough room. We're going to do 2 full roll downs at your own pace. Round all the way back. Keep those shoulders relaxed. And then find that opening through the front of the hip as you roll all the way down. Pause where you feel like you're just going to kind of like flop down, and then take a breath and try to lower down with a little bit more control. And then come all the way down. Arms reach overhead, back ribs stay connected to the floor. Inhale yourself all the way up. Pause, exhale as you round your front ribs towards your hips. And come all the way over those legs. One more time, rounding all the way down. Again, relax those shoulders. Right about here, I start to feel like I just want to collapse, so pause, take a breath, and then keep lowering all the way back down, and reach your arms overhead. Last one, coming all the way up. pause and reach over your legs. And then grab your bolster while you're here. Put it a little closer to you so that you can grab it once you're back down on your back. And then sit up nice and tall. Last time, we're going to roll all the way down. Make sure you're breathing. It makes it not easy, but easier. And then lower your head down, and then take your pillow or bolster and put it underneath your hips. So you can have it a little bit on your low back as well. But this should generally just feel nice to have your hips supported. Think about relaxing your sternum, kind of letting it melt into the floor along with your shoulder blades. You can hold on to the side of the pillow or rest your arms on top, whatever works. And then from here, you're going to bring your right leg into tabletop and then bring your left leg to meet it. Feel your abs just gently descend towards the floor so they're not pressing up. And then you're going to tap down with your right leg and then lift it back up into tabletop. We're going to stay on our right side. And you may need to adjust where your pillow is, or if this is more comfortable for you without it, by all means do that. If you feel like your ribs are flaring open, you may need to move the pillow a little bit closer towards your hips, or knees rather. Feet is the word that I was actually looking for, but your lower body, not your upper body. Last one on the right side with the leg bent. Good. Extend the right leg long. Lower it all the way down, just as low as you can, feeling that connection, and then lift it up. Your knee can be slightly bent as always. And back up. And lower. And 3 more. Your weight is staying even in your hips. You're thinking about that extension as your leg starts to lower. 2 more. Last one. Good, and then bring that right leg to tabletop, switching sides. So the left leg is going to reach down towards the floor and then resist to bring it up. If you'd like, bring your hand into your crease of your hip. I prefer my thumb. And as I lower down, I just think about finding length, and then I try to think that my hip bone and my thigh are going to kind of hug my thumb around it, as my hip flexor gently releases a tiny bit at the top, even though it's still working. 4 more. 3, 2. Back up, last one. Good. And then extend that leg long and then lower it down just as low as is comfortable, and then back up. If your range of motion is different from one side to the other, just note it. Again, keep that slight bend in your knee if you need. And that a hand on your right hip can be a nice reminder to not dump all the weight into your left side so that you're not laying nice and square through the hips. 3 more. 2. And last one. Good, and then bend that knee. Bend both legs in. And you can think about reaching your low back towards the pillow, away from you. So you're in like a little supported ball here. And square the knees to the hips. And then extend both legs long. And then you're going to externally rotate through the thighs. Glue your heels together. And then you're going to bend your knees all the way in like a frog. And then reach out somewhere between a 45-degree angle and a 90-degree angle. Try not to go below 45. And as you exhale, extend. Feel the wrap and zip of those inner thighs. Think about them wrapping around externally. And your knees should only, or your feet rather, should only be as turned out as your knees are. 3 more. 2. And last one. Good. Bring your knees in, bring your legs back to parallel, and then grab onto the right leg and reach your left leg up towards the ceiling. So you're hugging your right knee in towards your chest. And then you're going to keep reaching through that left heel as slowly and with as much control as you can, all the way down towards the ground. And then let the heel touch. And your right knee may come a little bit away from your chest, but try to press your knee into your hands, finding a little bit of opposition. And keep reaching through the heel on that left side. So you should get a great stretch through your hip flexor on the left, maybe even into your thigh, or I get it all the way slightly up into my obliques and outer hip on that left side. Good. Reach long still through that left leg, through the heel, and then lift that leg all the way up, and then bend the knee into your chest. Grab onto the left side, extend the right heel up towards the ceiling, flex so you get that little hamstring stretch here for a moment, and then just gently keep the left leg hugging in towards the towards your chest as you lower as slowly as you can. That right heel down, and then when that heel touches down, let your left knee come away from your chest a little if you need, and then press the left knee into the hands and reach long through the left or the right heel, and then keep reaching through that heel as you bring it all the way one more time, up towards the ceiling. Get that hamstring stretch, and bend the knees back in. Bring them all the way in towards your chest. And then lower one leg down towards the floor, and then lower the other leg down. Good. From here, you're going to have your heels relatively close to the bolster, and you're just going to lift your hips all the way up into a little bridge, and then slide your pillow out of the way. We're going to use it again in a moment, but you're going to hold your bridge here. Think about gently tucking the hips under. Feel the heels gently slide or connect, I guess, with your shoulders. Feeling that activation through the backs of your legs, the opening through the front of your hips, and then gently peel yourself all the way down one vertebrae at a time, and then release into a neutral pelvis at the bottom. Press your feet down like you're going to press them all the way through the floor as you lift the hips up. And then lower yourself all the way down one vertebrae at a time. And then release to neutral. So you're pressing up in a neutral bridge. And then you're articulating your spine as you lower down. One more time, just like this. Press up. Feel like you're holding an imaginary block in between the legs, the knees or the thighs on your lift so that your knees aren't slaying out to the side. From here, you're going to articulate your spine back up into that bridge. So ribs or hips up toward your ribs, and then peel yourself off. Shoulder blades stay on the floor. And then you're going to drop your hips into a neutral and lower all the way down. Tuck that tailbone under, find length through the low back as you lift. And then find neutral and lower all the way down. 3 more. Curl that tailbone under and lift. And then lower all the way down. Try to send your heels or your butt closer to your heels as you lift up so that you're not compressing your spine. You're still finding that length, even in the neutral. Last one. And then lower all the way down. This time you're going to lift straight up, pausing at the top, and then you're going to roll over onto the outside of your left foot and let your left knee fall out to the side. And then resist to bring it back in. Right side stays totally still, and your hips stay square. You're just letting your left leg externally rotate, and then come back to center. 5 more. Feel the lift of your pelvic floor and your inner thigh engaged to bring that leg back in, as well as your abdominals. So your leg shouldn't be doing all of the work. Check in with that right knee, make sure it's still in line with your hip. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you're going to lift your arms up off the floor, right above your shoulders. Last one to the left, and then come all the way to the top and pause. And then tuck the tailbone under, roll all the way down one vertebrae at a time. Lift the hips straight up. At the top, tuck the tailbone under, find that opening through the front of the hip. Roll that right knee out to the side and resist to bring it back in. And then lower it out to the side. And when you're letting it fall, you're still in control. Left leg is nice and still. If you need to lower your arms, go for it. 4 more. Make sure your range of motion isn't so wide that your hips are all over the place. Last one. Pause at the top. Extend your left leg long and then float it all the way up. Lower that right leg, or left leg rather, all the way down to the floor if you can, and all the way up to 90. Anywhere in that range of motion is great. You can make it tiny if you need. If this is too much, you can always drop your hips lower or just all the way to the ground. 2 more. Try to get that opening at the bottom through the hip. Last one. Bend that knee and then lower it all the way down. Tuck the tailbone under, round your spine up the rest of the way if you lowered your hips a bit as you were doing that. And then extend your right leg long. First, find that opening through the hip and then lift the leg all the way up and all the way back down. And down. Regardless of whether or not your arms are lifted, make sure your shoulders are nice and heavy on the mat. You're open through your chest. You're not rounding those shoulders forward and sort of clenching everything there. 3, 2, and last one. And then bend that leg in, lower all the way down, tuck the tailbone under, reach the arms all the way down to the floor, and then peel yourself down 1 vertebrae at a time. Bring your knees into your chest, and you're going to gently rock back and forth now from one side to the other. Good, and then come over onto your side and come all the way up. All right, you are going to grab your pillow now and you're going to put it down on your mat and then you're going to come to lay over it. So you want your ribs supporting your chest can be slightly off, and then you're just going to bring your hands onto, or come onto your forearms rather, here, and then just have your gaze be down about like forearm or wrist height. Sink down, let yourself just kind of fall forward. And then you're going to press into your forearms and then lengthen your head so you're in a nice long line. And then from here, you're going to press into your hands and press your ribs into the pillow as you lift up a little bit higher. So your elbows and forearms may gently come off the floor. And then you're going to lower all the way back down. So think about reaching your chest forward as you find length through the upper back. If you find this too much in your low back, slide your pillow a little bit farther forward. Think about reaching forward through the ribs. Abs are lifted away from the pillow. And then lower all the way back down. Legs are nice and long, nice and relaxed, and lift. And if you want to press all the way up through the arms until they come straight, if that feels good, go for it. And lower all the way back down. 2 more. Thinking about that extension coming from truly your upper back, not that mid back, which is where that length of reaching forward can really help. But make sure there's still weight in your pubic bone. Last one. Good. And then from here, you're going to let yourself shake your hips out and then bring your right hand to your forehead. So the back of your right hand is on your forehead. And you're just going to lower all the way down to the floor and then lift all the way up into a supported extension here and lower all the way back down. And lift. And down. Check in with your hips. Make sure your weight hasn't gone all the way into your right hip as you lift and lower. We have 2 more on this side. Really letting yourself kind of fall all the way over the bolster or pillow. Last one, lift up and then lower yourself your hand all the way down and then lower your torso all the way over. Give yourself a little shake. And then find your starting position. Not quite an extension, but not rounded forward either. Left hand to your left hand to your forehead, not your left forehead. And then lower all the way down. And then lift all the way back up. You can think that you have like a little bit of water on your shoulders, so you're dumping some water forward. And then you're gently letting that water cascade down your shoulders and back as you lift. And back down. Really reach forward into the pillow so you have that support. 2 more. And last one. And then lower all the way down. Good, and then from here, give your hips one more shake. And you're gonna press into your hands, and you're gonna lift. Find that extension, whatever feels good for you. And then you're just going to reach your right arm out to the side and find a little lightness through your right side. And then bring that right arm back. Reach your left arm out to the side. Find a little lightness through that left side. And then from here, find that support through your abdominals and then bring your elbows back towards your sides. So you're in a little goalpost here. And then as you lower, you're going to reach your arms long overhead, round forward over the bolster. Readjust if you need. And then you're going to lift yourself back up into that little goalpost motion as you lift up into extension. And then lower all the way back down. Forehead and hands can touch the floor. And then lift and reach. Finding opening through your chest. If this is too much on your low back, you really are not able to get out of your low back, you can stay with your forehead on the floor, just doing the chest opening here with the arms, or you can remove the bolster completely. And reach down. 2 more. And last one. Good, and then lower all the way down. And relax your forehead here. And you're going to take yourself up, and you're going to move the bolster down, and you're going to put your hips on it. So you're going to let your upper body relax. You can have your hands resting on your forehead. Just being in this position may also just feel great on your hips. I know I get a great stretch through my back here. You're going to reach long through your right leg, and you're going to float your right leg up. If you normally have trouble lifting that leg with your hips pressing into the ground, this is great because you really get good feedback from the pillow. You have a little bit bigger range of motion to find that lift and extension. 3 more. 2. Upper body is relaxed. Last one. Lower all the way down, switching over to the left leg, finding that length, and lower. Good. Think about lengthening through the back of the leg as well as the front. 3. 2. Make sure your abs are not pressing into the mat or into the pillow as you lift. Last one. Good. Relax those legs down for a moment. Extend your arms out in front of you. If you'd like to get rid of the bolster or bring it up towards your chest, your choice. You're going to lift your left leg and right arm and lower down. So you're staying lifted. You're pressing your hands into the floor. If you want to lift up a little higher, you're more than welcome to. Making sure that you're not in that low back. Alternating sides, reaching long, thinking about showing someone in front of you your necklace, lengthening your chest through your arms. 1 more time to each side. Last one. And then lower all the way down. You can bring one cheek to the floor, give your hips a little shake, and then bend your knees in towards you. And then you're just going to windshield wiper them from one side to the other. And then lower your legs all the way down. Press yourself back. And go ahead and get rid of the pillow. pillow for a moment. We're going to use it one more time just to finish, but first, we don't need it for a second. Find your hips back towards your heels and a nice child's pose. And then just let yourself kind of melt down towards the floor. Take 1 or 2 breaths here. And then you're going to bend your right arm and you're going to reach over with your left arm so you really get a stretch, but that right arm is bending back towards you. Side bending to the right, reaching with the left arm. And then reach and come back to the center. And then bend that left elbow, reach over to the left side with the right hand now, shoulders are relaxed. And then come back to the center and lift yourself all the way up. So, you're going to find all fours, curl your toes under, take a big inhale. On your exhale, feel your ribs relax, your abdominals engage, and lift yourself up into your little bear plank. If you'd like to do this on your forearms, you're welcome to. And then lower all the way down. And then again, inhale, exhale, lift. This time on your inhale, you're going to extend your right leg long. Extend your left leg. Find yourself in a nice plank here. Use the extension through the hip flexors and the upper back to find yourself nice and supported. Maybe you're no longer rounded through your upper back or, rounding your hips under a ton. Holding your plank here. Exhale. Lower your knees down right where they are. You can untuck your toes or you can return to a full plank, your choice. You're going to bend your elbows back towards your hips. Find length through the front of your body as you lower all the way down and then lift up. And then lower down and lift. 4 more. 3. Make sure you're not lowering your head before your torso. 2. And last one. And then round yourself all the way back. Butt towards your heels. And then grab your pillow one last time. Place it on your mat. And then you're going to sit with your butt right at the end of it. If you can fit your whole torso on it, go for it. But you want your head supported. So if you can't have your hips and your head, have your hips just up, but let your head be supported here. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And then if you have the space, let your arms come wide out to the side. And if you don't, you're going to bend your arms to elbows, bend your arms together, and then open through the chest, letting your arms fall all the way down towards the floor. You can do this on a foam roller too. It feels incredible. And then resist to bring your arms back to the center. Feel your ribs close. And then open back out. Finding a nice stretch. Think about reaching through the fingertips or the forearms, whatever point is farthest away from you. Think about finding that length through your chest. If you can bring your arms all the way down to the floor, that's awesome. One more time back to the center. And last time out. Good. Keep your arms right where they are, whether they're lifted or not. All good. You're going to reach your arms up overhead, finding that stretch through the front of your body, and then resist it back down. And then back up. So you can be doing like partial snow angels here or just bending and straightening at the elbow. We're going to do 2 more. And last one. Good. And then bring your arms all the way down by your side and just bring your knees one at a time into your chest. You can come off your pillow if that's more comfortable. And just kind of give your knees a little windshield wipe out to one side and then the other with a little support. And then you're going to bring them nice and wide and you're going to do the same thing. You can let your hip lift. Just get whatever stretch feels good. And then press yourself over to one side
take the pillow out from behind you, and then bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. And then extend your arms overhead and take one last big stretch. And then exhale and bring your arms by your side. And you are all finished. Thanks.